Are you ready?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Well, here we go. It's been a quick season, but this is it. This is the end. Some of us will be going on, some of us won't. But welcome to the COMMISTRO and the Bad Guys Show, Yomo FL, final week and playoff preview. How you feeling there, COMMISTRO?
Well, good day to all of you.
Oh, I was going to say Sherlock Holmes.
I'm
but
feeling
okay.
pretty good. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes could have worked. I could have tried to figure out what I was doing last week and understand why I did what I did. But hey, who cares? Let's go ahead and close out this year, Marcus. We got our first ever Yomo podcast. It's been fun. Probably do something for the playoffs, but you know what? Let's go ahead and round out week 14 recap of your mom. And let's go ahead and start off with the vaunted, everyone's favorite award, the GM of the week. So listen, okay? Every single person wants to win GM of the week, but it's been very coveted this final week. And I truly believe there are some real men of GMs who wholeheartedly deserve to walk away with the final GM of the week award. And Marcus, you know this, it's never an easy pickings for me as your supreme leader.
Yes,
So,
I'm sure it's hard to fight the urge to just pick yourself every week.
I am just going to salute you, Jake, my nephew who joined the league last year because we had to pick someone out of someone else being detrimental to the league. Congrats to a multi-time weekly award winner. That is an accomplishment all on its own. After winning only 4 games your rookie year as interim GM for the creepy pedo, you not only doubled your win total this year, but you stayed strong, beating the coolest guy in the league, and you held off Barry for that final playoff spot. So that is a Nepolistic achievement in your sophomore season. And you showed CJ Stroud how it's supposed to be done in your second year. So well done to you, Jake. But wow! Speaking of Nepal, just sit back down as I tell a tale of an Indian, which started off as a great big joke turned into a fantasy foe. We thought to ourselves, who is this guy? Really good at tech. 203 points this week. Gets GM of the week. GM of the week. Honestly, I think we all thought you were going to break that record easily this week, but not just the season, but the entire history of your mom.
I tell you what, man, it's hard when you hit that 200 plateau and you really think the record is in sight. Something happens and it freezes. So I don't know who that guy was that had the record, but he's almost like those guys from Miami that that popped the champagne. They put the Maloika on you when you get close.
Popping the champagne,
and it just doesn't happen. So he's somewhere maybe popping the champagne, and this guy's over here having a samosa of sadness. Because he couldn't get over the hump. I thought he was going to do it too.
Well, in this case of this week, your supremium leader, that is myself, I just could not allow a brown man to hold the record. Much like the MLB can't have a yellow man hold the hits record.
I played in Japan. Ichiro my ass. I mean, they forgot I got about 600 hits in the minor leagues, too, if you want to add him to my total, because they're adding his Japanese hits to his total.
R.I.P. Pete Rose.
Yeah.
So
R.I.P. Pete.
I called in a favor to Crypt Keeper Jerry and made sure that the guy who catches balls, T. Higgins, doesn't go off. And in typical Cowboy fashion, they let the other guy do it all by himself.
I was very grateful for that. Yeah. I thought I had a
So,
chance.
so for that reason, I'm out on Narin being GM of the week.
Oh, I thought we were crowning him already.
Oh
No?
no.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. All right. Just all right.
Your GM of this week, the
Uh-huh.
final week in Yomo,
Mm-hmm.
really had me thinking. I mean, seriously, questioning life's decisions, questioning my leadership skills, questioning my fantasy football future, honestly.
Wow. It's deep.
We need people like this guy in this league, though. Even if it's just to point your finger and say he sucks.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers.
You know, he never messes with anyone who didn't deserve it. He works hard for his team, and he wants everyone out there to know it. I mean, we all know what fantasy football is. It's about getting screwed.
Yeah, true.
And, I think this guy's been screwed a few times this season, but every dog has his day. And today
This is true.
is his day. So I want everyone out there to stand up. I want you to give a round of applause and say hello to my little friend. Literally. Your GM of the final regular season is the bad guy.
Really?
Absolutely.
Wow, holy cow. All right. I mean, I'll take it. I didn't expect it. I thought for sure 200 point boy would take it for the week. But cool. I accept the award graciously.
We'll get
Thank
into
you.
we'll get into 200-point guy in a minute. But you scored 183 points, Marcus.
That was a good week.
You beat the number one seed going into the playoff. Your top running back was out, and you were smart enough to pick up his handcuff a couple of weeks ago and finally start him this week. But
yes,
for the icing on this GM of the week's cake, I also want to give you a gift.
Oh,
And that
I
is
like presents.
Yes. And this award is one of your favorites because you also win the Wee Pee Pee.
This is my pee-pee. This is my pee-pee. This is my pee-pee.
Hey, this is my pee-pee. Yes, I love that. Oh, yes, nice. Okay, I like that even more than the GM of the week.
Along with GM of the week, Tua dropped 30. Zach Charbonnet, again, dropped 38 points as a backup running back to Kenneth Walker, who was your number one. And of course, I don't know anybody who didn't watch Jamar drop 44 on Monday night, but that was very impressive. So to you, my friend, Wee Pee Pee and GM of the week.
Thank you very much. I accept them both gracefully, but I cannot accept them without giving a big shout out to Jamar Chase. I think I had the 6th pick in the draft this year. And I got to tell you, I mean, so far, there have been some good guys that have overproduced this year. But you want to talk about making the right call at number 6 when everybody else was looking for, it's just luck. I struggled with the decision, but I held my guns because he was number 1 on my sheet. And boy, has that guy, and he's looking to get paid.
Hey,
he's got to.
This game that we all play, it's all about who's going to do it at the end. Not who's going to start off the season hot, but who's going to do it at the end. And you know what? Those Bengals sucked in the beginning. Burrow sucked. Jamar sucked. And for you and Jake, for them to come on like they have, that's some good GMing right there. Good move to hang on and not trade him and give up on him early.
Yeah. And I mean, Burrow put Jake in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about it. Yeah. So good for him too.
And I was hoping that you would have picked up Zach Charbonnet this week because you could have gotten the Jeep.
Yeah, but I
But
looked
it was
when saw the
it was
season was coming to an end. I had to cover him and Connor. They both get injured, and the reality is their backups are not bad. I mean, you can
still
play them.
still a smart move.
Yeah.
Still a smart move. However, this week we did have a Jeep.
Oh, really? Who's that?
We did. And this one goes to our soon-to-be 2024 Your Mom champion,
My name is Jeff.
the Mad Scientist.
Oh, geez, not with that again. Okay.
Yes, with the 49ers down to their third string running back, he literally ran with it. He popped out 26 points, and he picked up Isaiah Guerrero.
Yeah. I think he's
doesn't
hurt
matter.
already.
He'll be washing dishes next week, but he did have a 26-point week this week. And if you think about it, that was the difference in Mad Scientist's 20-point victory over Flippity Flops, who
Ooh.
was trying to make a sneak attack in the back door of your mom playoffs.
But we know
because
Jeff likes that.
And Jeff had no other running backs on his roster because Joe Mixon was on a bye, and for some reason he didn't have anybody else to go in. So he picked up Isaiah right away and placed him in there, and he 26 points he scored. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Very
Yeah.
good.
Well, I gotta say this. I know. I pissed off Hyderabad Harvey. Hyderabad Harvey. That's where he's from, Hyderabad. So I pissed off Hyderabad Harvey with giving him GM of the week because you got it instead of him getting it.
Yeah.
But you know what? You two brownies, you have to work this out. I got a crazy text from him, so I'm just keeping my eye out for India Antifa to storm my palatial compound. But I will say this. If you're watching, just be cool, Slumdog, because you did win the J&B highest points of the week.
I'm just really high.
203 points is awfully impressive, and Earpiece and Z's, because I know you're watching this first before anybody else even gets to it. But it's the second highest of the year and only the second 200 piece this season. And your 203 points is third all time in your mom, a stat that is definitely true and not just guessed by me because I didn't feel like going back to look. But if I said it once, I said it a few minutes ago. Rewind it. Only 203 points? I mean, Josh Allen, who was your first pick, scored the highest amount of points in the history of fantasy football for a week ever in the history of ever at 62 points in 1 week.
Whoa,
Crazy.
doctor.
Exactly. But get this, Josh Allen, just Josh Allen, almost beat Justin's entire roster by himself. I don't know if that's sad or if that's weak. Then comes Sam Darnold.
Oh.
He drops 5 touchdowns on his way to 48 points. And get
100
this.
points from 2 guys.
2 players on Bungalapur Bobby's roster alone beat Justin's team, Aaron's team, and my team. Just those 2.
Wow.
Beat all 3 of us. But get this, an even more interesting stat. Thank you, Come Again, Calicari. Beat the entire matchup of Barry and Justin combined this week, 203 to 196.
That is some week.
Yes. But as impressive as those stats are, and the impressive week the rest of his team put on, the 2 guys who catches balls for him decided to throw a twist in there for M. Night Narin. They only combined for a total of 10 points, his two wide receivers.
Oh.
And he scored 203. Otherwise, we might have seen a record never seen before in your mom. And for that reason, Bad Guys win this week was just a bit more impressive. That was where my thinking came in, and that's why Alabama didn't make the top 12. But hey, congrats on being high. Hey, speaking of sad and weak, you can't spell weak and sad without Aaron and Justin. But this week, there is a little twist into it because our creepo, pedo, Charlie, our saddest GM is an amazing guy. I mean, if you look at this storied, vaunted GM in your mom, there's only been 2 3-time champions, and only one of them remain. I mean, if you listen to him, it's one of the greatest franchises in your mom. However,
yeah, whatever.
Other than his 3 championships, his success in your mom is a bit of an anomaly. And you may have had one of the worst losses in the history of your mom statistically to Barry earlier this year. But I reiterate, in 13 seasons of your mom, you have 3 championships, 4 final appearances, and outside of that, you've never finished in the top 4. So, in honor of you tying the commish this week at 109 points, where I wasn't even trying, you were definitely sad. And our weakest GM. And listen, Justin, just an incredible roast to start the season. Your reading was so on point, and most everything was hilarious. You've been sad the last 4 weeks, and as weak as that is, I decided to brighten up your weather outlook with weakestest GM. I guess you were still hibernating this week in that deep, dark, wet, stinky, hairy cave. And only scored 80 points, which follows your previous 4 weeks to not break 100.
Jeez.
You had 80. The last 5 weeks were 80, 99, 91, 61, and 87. Maybe you gave up. Maybe you let your wife run your lineup while you were in that cave. Maybe there was a big sale at Ace Hardware and you had too much work to do. But you had 2 zeros on your bench this week. Most of us already know that you have 2 zeros in your family, but never had we ever thought one of them would be you. But hey, White Baker scored 30. Let me say this interesting piece of nugget, though. Speaking of Justin and Aaron, some of you may know, people who, the 11, 10 people who watch us, and the other ones may not know, but we have another modified league called the No Bench Warmers. There's no bench, no kickers, no defense. Only 7 roster spots compared to the 9 that are typically in our rosters now. But interestingly enough, the saddest and the weakest, your moms, played against each other this week in the No Bench Warmers.
Ooh.
And as impressive as the 203 points were from Earpiece Anz's, this week, you might want to be more impressed by the maybe best lineup I've ever seen in a fantasy football matchup. Justin, in the No Bench Warmer League, with only 7 roster spots, scored 218 points.
Holy cow.
He DP'd the crap out of Aaron. Literally a DP. He beat Aaron 218 to 109. 7 players on his roster spot.
Oh,
Josh
man.
Allen had 62. Jamar had 44. Puka had 41. Chase Brown, his running back, had 23. Then he finished it out with an 18, a 16, and a 14 in there. That is an incredible day of fantasy football. Kudos to you.
And
I don't think he
somewhere
made the
Aaron's
playoffs in
still
that league.
changing his diaper. Holy cow.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
But you know what? Let's back up from where they're at, and let's get back to Steph Curry. And rightfully so, because he scored 203 points this week, and he was smart enough to draft a guy that have the most single game points ever in the history of fantasy football games ever of all time. He had the foresight to draft Donald in Minnesota, which led him this week to a 73-point blowout of the Hank, his mentor. And Rajasthan Robbie was invited into this league by our defending champion a few years ago. And how does he repay him? By just embarrassing him the final week of his Hankover season. And I think making a statement to Hefe for their matchup in 2 weeks. Bad guy, you were so close. You won by 70 this week over the number 1 seed, albeit.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that maybe both of you were both making statements to your counterparts in 2 weeks. But could you just imagine if you would have played Shakir over Nick Westbrook hyphen it?
I would have had to, yeah. I mean, I've thought about that, and I really did think about it.
Man, I tell you what, Hindu Hanish would have had a conniption fit because he would have tied for the highest score with you at 203. You both would have had 203. And he's already, I think, rioting. He's got some pickets outside already. He's already picketing
Not getting GM of the week.
Sedona Place for not getting GM of the week. So
yeah.
Imagine if you would have played that and you guys would have had a Sharon Cox of the highest award.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
That was terrible.
Numbers are something else, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
But the next award we're going to give is our bench of the week. And let me just preface this by saying, I think there's many of you out there texting during the weekend. You seem to think I was trying to lose so I could worsen my seedings, and since I have to play your mom's next champion in week 1 of the playoffs. But in reality, I just wanted to win the bout. My bench of the week, duh.
Oh, okay.
And I did. 110 points on my bench.
Jeez Louise.
I don't know if it's funny or sad for me or for Aaron, but my bench beat us both 110 to 109. But I was trying to lose. And I was actually very close to a wee pee-pee as well. Almost 4 of my guys nipped that 30 mark. Very close, but we aren't playing horseshoes. But I do know one guy who might have been playing horseshoes all season because he definitely wasn't playing fantasy football. And it kind of fits into this bench of the week award technically, but I don't ever think I've seen this before, Marcus.
What's
I
that?
don't think I've ever seen this stat before. Flip-flops. He had a total of -5 points on his bench. That
What?
might have been the most impressive thing, more impressive than 110 points on the bench. He had -5 was his bench total. -5. He actually had a guy in the IR spot that played, so he didn't take him out of the IR spot, so he got stuck in there, but he only had 2 points. So he still would have had -3 points on the bench, which I don't ever think I've
How do you even do that?
I don't know.
I mean, unless everybody else on his bench was on a bye. Holy crap.
No, he had a defense on his bench that got -5 points. He had 1 or 2 guys on a bye, and all the rest of the players that he had in there just scored 0.
Wow.
Very
Okay.
impressive.
Yeah. I mean, that's hard to do for sure.
And finally, for the awards this week, the biggest disappointment in the final week of the regular season. And you know what? I cannot in good conscience give it to the Hank, because he did put up a respectable 130 against Apparition Ukarsh Ambassador. He'll know what I mean. No, I can't call him a disappointment in fantasy. Now, not hanging out or playing softball, that's another thing. However, I also can't give it to Justin or Aaron because their seasons were just too sad and too weak. Then there's always Rob, and he had a great team.
Though.
He had a great team. Disappointing outcome, but again, way too cool. Then there's Barry. But that's too easy. But Flip Flops still had a chance to get into the playoffs, and albeit he needed a lot of help, but I think that -5 bench, that was enough disappointment for him this week.
Yeah, I get that.
And something you may not be thinking about, but even Bad Guy and our own Apu could be disappointed in guys who catch balls or didn't catch balls. That could have increased their high scores. But I'm not going to give it to them either. So that leaves us with just one guy to be disappointed with. You didn't think I was giving it to myself, did you? Oh, you guys are cute. You guys are cute. No. The biggest disappointment this week is your mom, because another fantasy season is over, and that is disappointing.
Yeah, and it goes by so quick, man. I mean, it seems like we just started episode 1, and I don't know if I think this season has gone by faster with having to do this show in between. I don't know. It just seems like this season has just gone by really quick.
It could have something to do with climate change.
Oh yes, of course. Yes, of course. Although I don't know what impact us doing the show has on the environment, but whatever. But it just seems like it's gone by too quick.
It's making the days go by faster, man. It does. I mean, I can still taste that brisket I made on draft day. So I can't believe it's over. I think Marcus, another letter needs to be written to Roger Goodell. We need to figure out some way to make the season last longer.
Yeah. I do have plans. I'm going to save it till the end of the season. I think but I got an idea for us to
okay,
when the season is over, that involves the commissioner's office, and hopefully it'll be nice good for the league. But I'm going to hold that that nugget till the end, and then we'll see. But I mean, it's money time now.
I'm not going to finish with rankings. I think everybody knows where they're at. And a thought that I had, I don't want the consolation bracket to go without parting gifts. So I do want to think of something to where somebody can be in the final, 6 of the final bracket.
Yeah.
And have them play for something, some sense of pride, some sense of something. We are not a punishment league, and I think we should be. And it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't surprise
to be tattoos or something like that. But I do think we need some sort of punishment for the loser.
How about a loser's cup?
Yeah, I mean they do need. I've been trying to make a trophy for that for years. I just never got around to it. But I don't know. I think there should be something. We should figure something out. I do like the one idea of, I forget how it goes, but something about you buy a jersey and then this person has to pay for it, and then the loser has to wear it, and somebody else gets to pick what the name of it is on the jersey, and then another person has to buy it.
And it's got to be pink.
I'd have to go back and look at that, but that would be definitely something fun.
That would be pretty cool.
But that's all I got this week. I just wanted to do a quick recap of the awards. Again, I'm just keeping my eye out here for Indian Antifa, because I don't know how soon they're going to storm my compound, but he's out there. He's
And
out there. If
so
you listen quietly, Marcus, you can hear him.
so are we not doing a week one forecast, round one forecast for the playoffs?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had any rants you wanted to go on or not.
You know,
So,
I think it's hard this week because, of the focus. I mean, and I can't overanalyze my lineup enough. So I only had one thing this week, and considering you're an Eagles fan, I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you that. And of course, I think we've got a couple more in the league. Maybe they can comment and fill in on the YouTube enhanced version. But
I don't think he knows how to comment.
okay, maybe that's what it is. All right, that would make a lot of sense. But I heard this the other day, and I think some of this TO and and Hertz thing, I think some of that stuff is blown out of proportion. There's a couple things I don't like about it that I've heard. I'd like to get
Yeah.
your opinion on it.
Well, it's not T.O., it's AJ, but
AJ, you know what I mean.
It's a similar
Similar situation for back in the day.
I'll let you say what you want to say, and then I'll give you my quick point on that.
So I got two thoughts. One is, I don't understand why head coaches don't take more of a stance in telling these guys in the media, mind your business. Why does the media need an explanation for everything that goes on in your locker room? Listen, man, it is what it is in there. And I heard Sirianni's comment. You guys don't see what I see for 8 hours a day, every day of the week. You guys are only exposed to this for 3 hours, and you make these determinations. Why can't he just tell them it's none of their business? My team, we got a quarterback, we got a wide receiver. This guy's job is to throw the ball to the other guy. If anybody's ego's involved, it's an in-house thing. Mind your business. It's not a story. I don't know why the media is expected to, because they create stuff, and it's weird because now you don't want the same results to repeat themselves as they had last year when they fell apart kind of toward the end. And so I don't get that. Why can't you just tell the media, mind your business? Why does it have to be addressed? I think not everything needs to be addressed for them. One. Two. One thing that I did hear that I find incredibly disturbing, and just not how you run an organization. And, we've talked about owners being over involved. One guy who kind of slips under the radar is your boy Lurie over there in Philly. But did you know that Hertz flies in the owner's plane and the team flies on the team plane? And I just don't think that's good.
I don't
think
know if that's actually true, though.
Oh, really? Okay, so I don't know. That's what I heard. I heard this on I got to give credit to the source. That Phil Sims's kid that couldn't make it in the NFL, and the other guy that looks like Dead Man Walking, Mike Florio, that came up on their show. And
Chris Sims is the absolute worst prognosticator in the history of the game.
Don't place
so
any bet based on his recommendation.
He says, I wouldn't place anything on it. No.
Okay. Well, if that's not true, I hope it isn't.
Talking about nepotism for a career.
Oh, yeah. Well, him and Chris Collinsworth are fighting each other for the teats of the networks, thanks to their daddies. But anyway, I heard that, and I thought that bothered me. I didn't like Nick Sirianni having this expanded response to what's going on in his locker room between his players. I don't care for that. I don't know why the media's own explanation, but I hope you're right. I hope that the Hertz flying with Lurie and the team flying in a separate plane.
Yeah.
I hope that is not true.
That's not a thing, and I'll tell you why. Because if that were a thing in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia media would be absolutely destroying him more than they do now. Like,
that makes sense. Yeah.
The Philadelphia media will stir the turd so much that they do not care if it destroys a team, that they'll make up stories like this, or they'll push narratives that they want to, and then they're surprised when the team doesn't make a run or win a championship.
Or
and it's
implodes, yeah.
Because you guys keep making up this whole thing with AJ and Jalen. Bro, They're 11-2. They've won 9 games in a row. They got Saquon Barkley going for a career rushing record. Why even bring up the fact that there might be some strife in there? It doesn't need to be brought up. We can see it watching the game. All of us have played a sport. Every single one of us. Even Naren has played cricket. Everybody gets frustrated when they're not doing well. Everybody gets frustrated if you are doing well and you personally maybe made a mistake or had a bad game. And there's always going to be frustrations in sports, right? I mean, this is not anywhere close to the T.O. Donovan McNabb situation because they didn't like each other from the get-go, but they knew they could win together.
Yeah, yeah.
The
You don't.
reason
That's
that
not. That's
AJ
not a. Not.
the
It's not
reason that AJ
necessary.
Brown is in Philadelphia is because of Jalen Hurts. Jalen told them to go get him. Jalen is best friends with him. He's the godson of his kid, or the godfather of his kid. They might get into arguments. I got guys in this league that I'm close with, and we get into arguments, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to throw him under the bus or whatever it is.
True.
Right? You're going to get frustrated with your kids, with your friends, with your family, with your wife. That doesn't mean that you don't love them or you're not going to stick by them. These guys are professionals. They're going for a goal. Media just wants to stir a turd, and it starts in Philadelphia. It goes on to national talking heads out there that don't know anything. And to answer your question about Sirianni, I don't know if they have something where they'll get fined if they say certain things to the media or do withhold certain things to the media. But I think I watched Sirianni's interviews after this, and I thought, you know what? He actually made a really, really good point. He does spend all his time with these guys.
Yeah.
If they're not worried about it, you're not in that locker room. Right? Like what'd you say a couple weeks ago? I watched you sit down at the kitchen tables with these kids and you think you know and you don't know.
Yeah.
And guys, you might be in the locker room, reporters and stuff, you might be in the locker room, but you're not in something every single day to see what's going on. And it drives me nuts because you think about how many crazy sports stories or conspiracies or things that have happened in sports, and it all started with some type of journalist who decided that they wanted to get a story.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's very well said.
Look at the Michigan's whole sign stealing scandal. There was one guy decided that he wanted to get on them, right? And everybody's already said that everybody's doing it, doing something along the lines of it. I think, what was it? Deflategate. It was a journalist that came out. What was the one that got what's his name? The old coach of the Saints fired. That they did a Netflix movie on him.
Yes.
The Bounty Gate.
Yeah,
Bounty Gate.
What the
right?
heck is his name?
It was a reporter that decided to say something. So these journalists, they literally they're supposed to have a code, but they don't have a code anymore.
Not anymore, man. It's all about getting clicks and follows.
Exactly. And even in political media, they run with something and then they make a big story about it, and it ends up being a big smokescreen. We saw it with Trump for years. We see and then you see it on the other side too, where they say that something is nothing and it ends up being something. Yeah. And in this case, it just drives me nuts with the media because they've been doing it for years and years and years on all these different types of things. And I used to sit there and think to myself, so you're just letting some media guy just decide that he wants to write a story and then you're going to blow it up all over. Yeah. And that's what this is with the Eagles. I don't think it's going to have a part in it. I think Kellen Moore said he did want to find a way to get AJ more involved. Yeah. I think, and this is just from an Eagle standpoint, but I think Jalen could get the ball out quicker. But there are some times where I think you think should get the ball out quicker. Then you go back and look at the film and it's like, oh, wait, he probably would have got intercepted there. So everybody's going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to get frustrated with certain things. And whenever you're in a close game, especially when you're in a close game with a team that's terrible, tell me your butt don't pucker up a little bit. I don't care who you are. Your butt's going to pucker up a little bit because you want to be the one to make a play, and you want to get him out of it. So I say all that to say it's a nothing burger, and it was a nothing burger. And if any Eagles fan, I would say, thinks that there's something behind that, then you should just give up your green card right now.
See, that's why people should tune into a show like this, because you keep it on the real. I mean, I had it, and I had one conclusion, and it's good to break things down without trying. I mean, obviously, if we are looking for clicks, we are doing a terrible job because we can't get a click or like or view to save our lives. But so we got to change something. But at least we don't let it affect the content.
And
so
we know who we are. We know what we're doing here.
And that is good stuff right there. And so the one thing I did have, which just popped into my mind, so we'll kind of do this on the fly. We did the other thing on the fly too, was I don't think we can let the show go or get into next week or this coming week without talking about Belichick taking the job at UNC.
Oh, yeah.
You got a thought on that?
I think the only reason he took it because
his girlfriend's in his
contract. No, that which is what. I think the only reason he took it is because let's rewind to nepotism, right? He put in his contract that the only way he takes that job is if his son is anointed coach in waiting.
Oh, I saw that. Is that
came
true?
out a while ago. That is true. That was part of his thing. To become the next coach there. And even though he signed a 5-year deal, tell me he doesn't let go after probably next year, and then his son comes in and is the head coach. Now, I was telling my wife the other day when I brought that up, he's qualified to be a coach, I do believe.
At any level, of course.
His son coaches
his son,
a lot.
Yeah.
His son, yeah. But I don't think his son was going to get an interview for the head coaching job where Bill Belichick's name was. So don't be surprised if he lasts 1 year there and then his son comes in and becomes the next coach of the UNC, whether he's great, whether he's not. But Belichick was never a college coach, not that I've seen, unless I'm missing something.
Do you think he's going to have success there? Do you think he can do a good? Well, I think he can do a good job, but do you think that he will? In the short time that he's there, because it may be a short time. That's a very good point.
I believe NIL is going to open up his eyes, and Bill Belichick, from what we know of him, is very hands-on and wants to control. He doesn't delegate much. He wants to be in full control, and it's going to end up being a Saban situation, I believe. I think he's going to end up, after that first year, he's going to be like, this NIL stuff is ridiculous. I mean, he's dealt with players and guys wanting money and not, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Do I think he could be a good coach? Yeah, I think he's a great coach. Do I think that he wants to prove something without Tom Brady? Absolutely. Everyone at that level has an ego. But do I think that he really just took the job so that his son could be the next coach? Yes. That's the main reason I think he took the job.
Yeah, I think he did. But let me ask you something. If he wins the national championship with UNC, does that really prove anything? That he can do something without Tom Brady? Doesn't it only really register if he had done it or does it in the NFL? Is it the same?
Well, it's not the same.
Yeah.
But is it a challenge? Maybe. I don't know. It's a reverse Jim Harbaugh, maybe. Harbaugh won the national championship.
But, it's just different, though, because they're two different types of individuals. Now, granted, you can't argue with Bill Belichick's success, but you can debate styles. And I think that the reason...
Styling and profiling right here, baby.
I mean, it makes...
You gotta know how to style and profile.
Sense. It's not it wasn't hard to believe that Harbaugh was going to go and be successful, and it's not hard to believe that he was able to come back and still have success. The guys, if you were building a football coach robot in a laboratory,
Yeah.
honestly, I'd build Harbaugh. Or his idiot brother. Combine the two. Old school, trend for the new, but they really represent the essence of what the heart of football is and
Yeah, and I
leading
mean,
men. And I
but
think Belichick is
have
good
you
at
ever
it.
seen videos of Harbaugh's dad, Jack?
I have not. I
He's
can't.
just as crazy as Jim. He's straight up Jim. I would
Really
say Jim 1.0 because he was the original. Oh my gosh, Jack is crazy, man. Jack is absolutely nuts, and you can see John is like calm compared to Jim and Jack Harbaugh.
interesting.
It's amazing to see.
Let the blood begin to fill up his mouth. The trainer says, you are in trouble. You know, I got to throw. No, hold on to that towel. Give me one more round. Give me one more play. Give me one more chance. Sure enough, he let him go. 5th round. Vito goes, boom! And pops him right on the tip of the jaw. Cyclone's knee buckled. He went into the ropes. He's quitting. He doesn't want it anymore. He's let go. That's the time that you go after with a flurry of punches and knock their ass out. Good luck tomorrow. Beat him. Beat him. Beat him. Beautiful day. The sun is pounding down on us, sculpturing our bodies and our minds. Pads on our shoulders. That great sound of football when those two pads come together. A question, if I may. Who has it better than us?
So my thing about Belichick is, I don't think he wasn't the best drafter in the NFL. Let's call a spade a spade. I mean, they've got a lot of bad draft picks attached to his signature in the NFL, and I think toward the end he kind of struggled. He struggled with connecting with professional millionaires at times. How is he going to is he going to struggle? I think he's going to struggle connecting with spoiled millionaire babies, because that's what a lot of athletes are now in college football. And you know what? Kids don't want to listen. I'm sorry. At that age, their egos are so propped up by the time they get to college. I think he'll do a decent job recruiting, but I don't think he's going to understand the laying out and kissing the ass of the young generation coming into your college football program. I don't think he's going to get it. And maybe
I see
his
it
friend
differently.
Saban will help him, but
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a difficult transition there. And I think he's going to get frustrated really quick.
I'll say
That's
this.
just my guess.
I don't necessarily disagree that he'll get frustrated really quick, but you know what? After watching him on a few episodes of the Manning cast during Monday Night Football, he's got more of a sense of humor, albeit dry. But I think the kids will actually love playing for him, and I think he'll enjoy them more than the jerk off millionaires that might have been under him before. Now, will he struggle to maybe not have a Tom Brady type person who is like more hating to lose than loving to win type of attitude? Possibly.
It'd be hard to find that
But
same. Yeah,
I do think that internally, I think the kids will like him. I think they'll like playing for him. I do. And now he's going to be hard nosed and tough, but I mean, you need that in football because it's the ultimate team. It's the ultimate team sport. You need somebody that's going to knock you all the way down and out so that you can learn how to build yourself back up and become a winner. But I don't know. I think the kids will like him, but I still harken all the way back to I think he just took this job so his son could be the coach next year. That's
wouldn't
my
surprise me. It's
story,
something,
and I'm sticking to it.
It's something that a dad would definitely do. There's not many
Sure.
dads in the world that wouldn't do that for their son. So I
Sure.
I think you're right. It would be interesting to see him be successful. Probably a little bit more interesting to see him fail. But it's going to be interesting. because
I'm glad we brought up some of these topics because they're all off the top of our heads. The last one before I get to the preview of next week is: did you see where a congressman or a senator or whatever in Ohio is trying to make it a felony to plant a flag on the football field in Ohio?
Meanwhile, a Northwest Ohio lawmaker has just introduced a bill stemming from the scene a couple of weeks ago in Columbus that you see right here. A fight broke out after the Michigan-Ohio State game when a Michigan player tried to plant the Block M flag in the center of Ohio Stadium. Now State Representative Josh Williams wants to make that a felony. The OHIO Sportsmanship Act would prohibit planting a flag at the center of the field during game day, but just at Ohio Stadium.
are you serious?
Yes. They're probably going to end before the year without getting a deal on the bill, but he's written a bill to make it a felony to plant a flag on a football field in Ohio. So not only are the Buckeyes a bunch of whiny babies, their entire political system is the same way. We're gonna put you in jail if you plant a flag on our field. And
Jeez Louise.
I saw this the other day, and I pray to the college football bracket playoff gods that Tennessee beats Ohio State and plants their flag in their field, because it'll be
while you still
awesome.
can.
Awesome.
And I believe that they will. If they do, they should.
Sorry, Hank, but I just want to see that. I just want
yeah,
to
you know
see
what?
that.
Now that you mention it, so would I. I like it. Listen, good luck to Bill Belichick in his new endeavor. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure if that's the hire I would have made, but I get it. And if the booby prize is his son, but man, UNC's a decent football program. It's not great. Let's call it what it is. It's not Michigan.
Yeah.
It's not Michigan, Ohio State. So
I mean,
they've
had some guys. Lawrence Taylor went there. He's the greatest linebacker to ever live.
Yeah, they produce players. They just don't have a lot of success. I mean, they produce a couple quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers went to NC State. I mean,
maybe this is what they need, right? To make them not just have good players, but to have a good team. Who knows? I'd like to see them in the playoff next year. I'd like to see if they can make it to the playoff next year. With the transfer portal and the NIL, anything's possible. Look at Colorado. They're all of a sudden kind of good, but even though they didn't make the playoff.
I'm not a big fan of the whole NIL transferring every week. I thought they went to college to go to school, but that's not the case anymore. But anyway, here's what it is. All right. I think I've rambled long enough for a week that was not supposed to have any rants. I think we did satisfy a little bit of a rant itch, so thank you very much for appeasing me on that.
You're welcome.
I guess it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. This is what we all play the season for.
It is round one. Of course, the 2 number 1 seeds get a bye in this league because that's the way I set it up. And it was a crazy last couple of weeks that Narin could have lost his bye. And young Sheldon could have lost his bye, but kudos again to young Sheldon.
Thank you, Kyle Pitts, you jerk.
Kudos to young Sheldon as a rookie, making it to a top seed and a first-round playoff bye. Again, we haven't seen that since the inaugural season in your mom. But let's look at the consolation ladder really quick. There's 3 games there. I think you guys should all fight for something. Maybe comment down below and tell me what you guys want to play for.
Like and subscribe while you're at it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
the first one is Grass and Justin and Aaron. Both of them have some pride that they need to play for. But once again, Grass isn't even projected to hit 100 points, but we'll see if he changes up his lineup. I take Aaron in that one. Hank plays Apex Untouchables. Man, this looks like a close one. It depends if both of them decide to play. Hank's got the edge, but I like Apex Untouchables. I like Rob's team. He's too cool to pick against, so I'm going for Rob. And Big Bear plays Flippity Flops. Both of them had a chance to sneak into the playoffs over Jake. Didn't happen. They're actually projected to be tied right now. So I take the Sister Kiss. I give one second. I give the Sister Kiss. They're going to tie, and the winner of the consolation first round over Flip Flops and Barry is going to go to Barry. He's got the better running backs. Barry.
Okay, now we go into round 1 of your mom's championship brackets, and we've got Say Goodnight to the Bad Guy. Your reigning GM of the week takes on a young and up-and-comer, Jake's in charge. It's all going to rely on what Joe Burrow decides to do this week. But bad guy, I think you move on to play your new nemesis and young Sheldon. Good
Yeah,
luck
man. And
next
Jake
week.
knocked me out of the first round bye, technically,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
So, and then of course it's COMMISTRO, it's Mad Scientist, it's close, but we all know we've all been on this merry-go-round before, and I just got the alert again on my Facebook memories that said, Commish, you will not win a championship.
You jackass!
So, congrats to the Mad Scientist and winning this year's 2024 Round 1 playoff, as well as the entire championship. Go Mad Scientist. Good luck to you. You're welcome for Mixon and Bo Nix. And that is all I have for this week, the final week of Yomo, the Bad Guy and COMMISTRO show.
Well, it's not the final week. I mean, we'll be back next week, no?
Regular season.
Regular season. Okay, regular season finale. All right, so we're going to sign off.
We've only got 10 views anyway, so that's going to cut it in half because they're not going to watch if they're not in the playoffs. So,
these guys are so predictable. But anyway, talk about knowing your base. Exactly. But anyhow, you guys, good luck. I've got game film to watch. I've got meetings to hold, doctors to talk to check on status reports and all this stuff. So it's time to get to work, guys. All right, till next week, everybody have a good one. All right. See you next week, Commish.
You're failures! Failure!
Give me my money. I really mean it. It's my money. You owe me that money, so give me my money. Seriously.